So I'm back. This channel I'm finally able to do uploads. Anyway, from what it looks like, this is why I kind of stay away from a lot of media, a lot of articles and stuff that's on the news. I don't really see the things that's supposed to be happening because it's a simulation. So whatever you accept is really what's happening. But at the same time, you can't be under a consciousness where people buy into everything. Because if you're under, I said this on my other channel, Divine Beingness, not too long ago. If you're under that kind of consciousness where everybody just holds on to everything, then you are completely outnumbered. And you either to not get caught up in the mess that everybody else is going to get caught up in, you either have to move away somewhere, get away from that type of consciousness, or you have to decide that everybody must go. And I don't mean physically doing anything. I'm not saying for me to personally do anything to anybody, but my point is that it's quite obvious that when I do listen to some commentators, it just looks like the world is, well, it looks like consciousness is going downhill. And when I say consciousness, I'm talking about a particular consciousness, especially in the United States of America. But it looks like it's like that type of stuff is going on just about everywhere because I listen to people internationally. And it looks like there's just pretty much problems everywhere except for like maybe a few places. That's because you have these organizations or whatever, these these organizations that run the world. They pretty much run all continents, pretty much. And they barely control a few tiny countries, a few countries. But a lot of times those countries, it's hard if you decide to go visit, travel. Like it's one that I keep forgetting, but it's where it's a lot of brown people that have blonde hair. And I always forget the name of that place. I was looking into going to that place around 2018, something like that. Just around 2018, just to see what it's like to visit. And that ticket was like 10,000, I think, one way. And I was talking to somebody on the phone. She's an occultist, right? But she was like, they trying to keep people from going over there. They trying to keep folks out. They mean that they doing something with those people where they trying to keep. I don't know if it's a portal out there. I don't know what's out there. Most likely, it's some kind of portal. It's some kind of Stargate in that area. Most likely. And they want to make sure people don't get out there. They want to make sure people don't go there. And see, when they people have their eye on the area like that, and they eyeballing those people that hard, I would not want to go and fly out that way. People might want to question while I'm going out there. I don't trust what's in place, and that's what I'm saying right now. I already know something is going to happen. To people say, a lot of stuff is going to be destroyed. Well, people who are holding on to a lower consciousness will be destroyed. It's not necessarily the world, because the world is just how you perceive it. It's a simulation. The world is pretty much how you perceive it, right? So it's really consciousness that's getting too low. It's going to be wiped out. And it's best to get out from an area of people that have low consciousness, no matter if they have money or not. Having money, being rich or whatever, it's not even what has a high consciousness. Okay, high consciousness is just you want to keep holding on to things that's not the truth. Okay, you basically reverse. People become reverse because everything you've been taught from a baby is a lie. And so when everything that you taught from a baby is a lie, you're pretty much in reverse. It's like you have to detox every single thing you learn and start over. You have to pretty much forget the day you were supposedly born when this is a simulation. But you're supposed to forget the day that you were supposedly born. Well, I'm letting that day go anyway because I said in my other channel, I already know who I am in the real world and what my body is and what I look like, which look nothing like what I am now. something happened where I was split from my real self and my real body, and my consciousness was fragmented to the point where I am right now speaking to you. This right here that's speaking, this person that's speaking, this is a character, not real. It's a part of a fractured consciousness from my real self that's in the real world. And I have to align back with my real self to ground back in the real world to live a real life. You know? So, yeah, yeah. Yeah, consciousness is getting too low. And I'm gonna say this. I've already been told I need to move anyway. Basically move to an area that's clear of a lot of, I guess, thought forms, right? It needs to be clear of a lot of thought forms. The place will need to be killed. Or I mean, I can have an option not to move too. Probably better that I just move to a different location. That's all. And like I said, to an area where the thought forms are a lot less. Like I need to get to an area where the thought forms are a lot less. You know? And maybe where there might be like more of a country area where there might just be less nanobots. But the problem with that is that if I end up going to the store or going somewhere into the city, you know, you're going to be exposed to that anyway. That's why I said, I always keep saying to live a more spiritual type of life. You know, if I get too physical, you have to worry about everything. You have to be paranoid about everything when you're too physical, right? Like, eat this, don't eat that because they messing with the meat, so don't eat the meat. Yeah, but they messing with the fruit too, and they messing with the water, and now they mess with the soil. They mess with everything. They mess with everything. And my issue is this is assimilation. So now I'm a little tired of the programming of being physical. I'm sick of the physical programming. If within this simulation, if I'm gonna have a physical program in the simulation, and then whatever I eat could kill me because they trying to kill you, and you're programmed to be physical. Well, I need to be deprogrammed from being physical in this simulation because it seems like being physical is gonna be you'll be unalived. That's what it looked like. That's what it looks like. It looks like everything is made impossible. Okay? People talk about inflation and all that stuff. To be honest with you, I'm not really in a position where I see that. I'm in California and the gas pretty much looks the same that it did last year. You know, it was a lot cheaper, you know. It's always cheaper when Republicans are in office. Every time Democrats get in office, I always notice a pattern of inflation and recession. Every single time the Democrats are in office, I'm not political. I cannot get in any political debates. I don't have anything to debate about because I don't know. I just know the pattern. And every time Democrats get in office, this is what you have. Inflation, recession, everything, prices going up, problem with the housing, the housing market is it always happens with them. Always. Consciousness is getting too low to the point where I feel like they're about to make it a law that you support. Not only that you support transgender, but you no longer support traditional marriages. I don't know if there was some kind of article about a particular coffee place, a popular coffee place franchise that came out with some type of statement saying if you support traditional marriages, don't bother coming to us. You know, well, hell. This is a simulation, so I don't really support anything but getting grounded back into my real life. So I don't really want to support anything in the simulation besides getting back into divine order. I'm not going to marry anybody in a simulation knowing goodness well that I'm trying to get back to my real world, and you might marry somebody who want to stay asleep that don't want you to wake up, or they might be an agent or a handler. So I don't support for myself. The only reason I don't support it because I know this is not real life for me. I notice my mind has been fragmented and I'm here now as a different doggone person. I'm not the real person. I have been like my real mind have been fragmented. You know how you have many different versions of yourself, and when you're in dreams, you're like experiencing different versions of yourself in different timelines. But a lot of times, now I can't explain everything that a dream shows you, but like that's a part of it. A lot of times when you're in dreams, you're experiencing a different part of yourself in a different timeline. I would like to pay attention to those, because you want to make sure that if your consciousness is low towards that type of, then you'll be going down to wherever timeline that you would dream you had where you didn't like it. And I say this to myself too. I say these things because it comes up to me, and I need to say it to myself too, and I just say it out loud. It's best to go on and focus on things that you really, really want. I don't care if it's meditations or, people say affirmations. So let me tell you about affirmations. I think they work, but for me, it needs to be done a little differently than trying to, it needs to be done a little differently, because you're not going to, if the ego is used to something, right? You see, your ego, your subconscious, what has taken in everything that you have experienced. And you literally need to detox before you add more stuff. You need to keep detox the old stuff and then get the new stuff that you want, and detox all the other stuff and add the new stuff that you want. So it needs to be a lot of shadow work. In addition to those affirmations, there needs to be a lot of shadow work done. But yeah, you want to be on a positive timeline. And so if you're having dreams about stuff that you don't like, it's best to kind of focus on the things you want, so you don't head down that path of that lower timeline, because it looks like when I hear this stuff about all kinds of stuff, they about to make pedophilia legal, and they dragging people further into hell. And I'm sorry, I don't respect. First of all, those people aren't real. So let me stop giving them the power, because me and a few others that are still really here, that's real, they're still living. And when I mean live, when I say living, I'm talking about like you're raising your consciousness to get into alignment with your true self. That's the only thing I mean by alive. There's no other alive in assimilation. So the only thing I mean by alive is that you're raising your consciousness to a point where you are trying to align with your divine self. That does not have a physical body, that does not have a name or a birthday and all that stuff. But yeah, they dragging folks further. Like what's happening is, and I like I said, these people that we think we see, people signing these orders, and they don't even exist. Like literally, they're not even real. If the real people that's left here decide to go on and end this simulation, those people don't even exist no more. The people that we think are ruling the world, they don't exist. They don't exist. They are part of an illusion, because some of us that come from higher realms have fell in frequency to the point that we have been fragmented. And because we have been fragmented, we keep them alive. When a lot of us get back to what we're supposed to be, they don't exist anymore. I can't put it on them. We need to rise up. We need to rise up. And that's what I'm going to say now. It's time for the simulation to come to an end. I would complain about where it's going on. They are dragging us consciousness further into hell, making laws for you to kill yourself. They're making a law for you to kill yourself, basically. But let me stop, because this channel was struck for speaking like this before. And, they're about to make it illegal for you to tell the truth. I mean, people that don't even say the type of stuff I say. Now, I know I don't have a big channel, but I think I say some things the other folks just will not dare say, and it's not because they're afraid to say it. It's because they probably would think what I'm saying is pretty strange. Now, I realize some people are occultists and they know some things, but even if they know something, they're not going to come out and say it the way I'm saying it. Even if they know, they're not going to come out and just say it in the way I'm saying it, because a lot of people who are knowledgeable, that have big channels, they're not going to really tell you what they really know, because they're about those bucks, and they're not willing to sacrifice their money trying to put out information. When people have already chosen what they're going to follow, which is something more on the negative, low consciousness type of path. So people have worldwide made that choice. Majority of people worldwide made that choice that they're going to go down the negative path. You can say it's media and what's on media, TV, and people looking at all this stuff like housewives and this stuff to come on TV. Yeah, but what about around the world though? Because there's a problem with consciousness around the world. So what to say about them? So I mean, I can say a lot that's going on in the United States, but what about around the world? It's a problem around the world. Okay, I'm about to go, but yeah, it's time for the simulation to come to an end, and it's going to be up to those of us who are still here, that's still, living, to rise up in consciousness to end it. It's not going to be up to anybody else. Now, once we rise ourselves, excuse me, once we rise ourselves up to a certain point, yeah, maybe you will get some help. Maybe you will be allowed to get some help, but you have to rise up to a certain point. You got to kind of help yourself some, but it's up to us ultimately to end this whole thing. It's up to us to end it. It's nobody else's responsibility to do. It's up to those of us who are still here, that's still really here and alive, to end the simulation. I talked about 2021, and I end here. I know I might have sounded crazy if anybody heard my last video on my page Divine Business about lowering of consciousness and humanity removed. That's my last upload. I talked about how some disaster might have happened in 2021. And a lot of us have been, I already realized it. I already been shown that so many times that I couldn't help but to go and accept it and do something about it. But a lot of folks are like Nicole Kidman and the others, that they don't know they gone when they go. And this is I don't know about the world, but I definitely know United States. Besides those who might have been higher in consciousness. Something happened, some disaster happened in 2021. I feel like it has something to do with radiation because I saw it in a dream. But with this being a simulation, it could be projected like something happened in what you call a physical world, but there is no physical world. It's only perception. It's only perception. But so where did they put that bomb? Okay, well, it had to be more programmed, but still, I said bomb. So I saw pretty much a bomb. I saw a bomb. I don't know if that's going to come in the future, what we think is the future, which I'm tired of perceiving lies at this point. I'm tired of perceiving lies. But what we think is the future, because it's still 2021. This is what I'm told, allegedly. This is still 2021. Something happened. Something's going to happen again. I don't know when. Consciousness is going to get even lower. And at that point, just kiss everything goodbye, because some of us, we're not going to tolerate the way this stuff keeps going on and on. But, I wouldn't worry about that too much for me, because all I do is focus on what I'm supposed to do, and I would be separated from those who are going to be in the lower timelines. Something's going to happen pretty soon where people who are of lower consciousness, that's not in alignment, they're going to be taken down even further down negative timelines. See, what we are seeing right now is a very, I'm not really seeing it. I hear people talk about it. I mean, it sounds like programs that's edited into people's consciousness for them to believe it's real. And if they want to perceive it's real, that's on them. But, yeah. Some of us that will, I guess, survive what's going to come, that holding on to higher consciousness, we'll probably say, oh, nothing happened. Well, people who are on lower consciousness will believe nothing happened too, because, a lot of folks don't even realize something happened in 2021, and it's not really 2023. Allegedly, I keep being told that it's still 2021. Allegedly. There is no year past 2021. A lot of stuff was destroyed. And the people who had a higher consciousness at that time, it did not touch them. It didn't touch them. And I feel like this is why I'm being told to go to a new address. Do not be under a consciousness where people believe whatever they're being told. Does not matter if they have money or if they don't have money. I mean, you want to get away from folks that's, you know, like if you're in an area where folks do a lot of drugs and all that stuff, definitely get away from that kind of consciousness. Yeah, because they are filled with a lot of attachments, and I'm talking about just the whole addiction. That's the area where people will most likely have more attachments. But what's going on and what a lot of people agreed to doing to themselves in 2021, it's not even safe to be around folks that supposedly stay in a decent neighborhood and have money, because they have agreed to some things that still could be detrimental. Okay, so it's just best to go somewhere where just hardly any people, period. Okay, and I've already been told that I need to move, so it's time to get on the good foot. It's time to get on the good foot and get the heck on. I would really like to ground back to my real self. That's all right. I'm going to be patient and just get the heck on out like I'm supposed to. And I will talk later.